Good evening. Thanks for your patience. We wanted to give a few more people time to get out of traffic to make it here. But my name is Lena, and on behalf of all of our staff and our volunteers, it's my honor to welcome you and thank you for joining us today as we celebrate our newest exhibit, our newest temporary exhibit, Washed Ashore, Art to Save the Sea. Angela Hazelton Posey, I think they're going to show her picture up there in a few. She's an artist and an educator, and she created Washed Ashore, the project and exhibit, based on a tragedy that impacted her life back in 2002. Her husband of 25 years, his name was Craig, by the way, too, he collapsed from a brain tumor, and then he had a stroke, and he died. And everything in her world just stopped then. So to find meaning in her life, she went to the ocean to heal. And she said as she walked the shore, she saw an ocean that actually needed healing. And based on all the trash she saw on the shore, the educator in her kicked in and she started doing her research. And she found that the marine debris was choking oceans worldwide and affecting our environment and the sea creatures. And that's when she found her calling, her life's calling, to make art to save the sea. And since 2010, over 10,000 volunteers have helped to clean the beaches, and they've worked with Washed Ashore to process over 20 tons of debris into sculptures of animals that are impacted by plastic pollution. So at its core, our Washed Ashore exhibit, if you had a chance to see it yet, and if not, hopefully you will see it after this program, it is literally 100% garbage transformed into amazing art. This exhibit is an artistic alarm that rings loud and clear to remind us all that our choices, our actions, or our inactions, they have consequences. We are a culture of consumers, of convenience, and our oceans and our waterways, our environment is paying the price. But hopefully through this type of exhibit and through work worldwide, there's efforts worldwide, hopefully it will continue to transform and spark positive change in our consumer habits. There is hope, right? As long as we all make conscious and good decisions. Which brings me to our very important exhibit sponsor, Regional Recycling and Waste Reduction District. I have to thank you, we all have to thank you for helping us to bring this powerful exhibit and this powerful message to our community. Many of you may know this, since 1992, Regional Recycling has been a part of the solution by giving us the tools and information we need to make good decisions. Their mission is to help us as local Arkansans to protect our shared environment by empowering us to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And we encourage you to visit their website, mydoright.com, to make sure you're doing recycling right. I also want to thank our opening reception sponsors and hosts. Thank you so much. You've seen their names up here posted as well. Thank you so much for your support. And all of our Clinton Presidential Center members, thank you as well. Every donation matters. It all adds up, and we couldn't do it without your support, so thank you. I also want to say that this is a celebration for our first installment. We have more pieces coming, and all of the sculptures should be installed by June. And Angela herself, she's going to come in and help us celebrate that, as well as President Clinton. So Clinton Center members, you'll be looking for that invitation. It should be coming soon as well, to invite you to come back and help us celebrate in June. And if you're not a member, it's not too late. You can still sign up. And now it is my honor to introduce our special guest, Hamilton Perkins. He founded Hamilton Perkins Collection in 2014. He is a brilliant designer, and You see some of his work already up here as well. He makes timeless, one-of-a-kind bags out of recycled plastic bottles and repurposed billboard vinyl and banners. He has been featured in Forbes, Fast Company, Washington Post, and Money Magazine. Hamilton proudly provides style with a purpose, and he uses his business as a force for good. So please help me to welcome and give him a big Arkansan welcome. Please help me welcome Hamilton to the stage.
Good evening. My name is Hamilton Perkins. I'm the founder of Hamilton Perkins Collection. We make unique bags from sustainable materials. This evening, I just want to maybe share our story and just continue the theme of the exhibit, Washed Ashore. I had a chance to kind of walk earlier, and the work that's happening is amazing, and we all can do something. I think this is great. So I'm going to run through this, and thank you for your time. So we know the problem is we're buying about 1 million plastic bottles a minute. The majority of those plastic bottles are not being recycled. We came up with a solution for this. Our solution is the Hamilton Perkins Collection. We use recycled water bottles, we use billboard vinyl, conference vinyl, museum banners, and pineapple leaf fiber. Our company works with Fortune 500 customers like Hewlett-Packard, Dow Chemical, Nordstrom. We work with Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies like Barnes & Noble booksellers. We work with specialty retail stores like West Elm, Zappos. And we also work with off-price retailers, whether it's a TJ Maxx or Haute Look. So I'm not going to bore you all too much with the business side of it, but I do want to set the landscape and kind of give you an overview of our company. We have about a 10% reorder rate from customers right now. We did 6 figures last year in sales. It's our first full year of wholesale. About 85% of our revenue is working with retail partners and working with businesses and brands. This year, we're already on a $500K to $1 million run rate, and we couldn't have done it without our customers. These are some of the products that we actually make. We make backpacks, duffel bags, tote bags, wallets, apparel. This is the first bag we made. It's a backpack and a duffel, 2 bags in one. This is another duffel bag that we make. So clean, classic backpacks, duffels, travel bags. We also do apparel. We make shirts out of recycled plastic and cotton. So there's about 3 bottles recycled for each shirt that we sell. It's about 17.5 water bottles for every bag that we sell. This is where it started. For me, I wanted a bag that had a purpose. And a few years ago, I looked online and I looked in stores, and I didn't see a bag that was speaking directly to me. And I was crazy enough to try to make it for myself. I looked online. I found organizations that were already doing great work, and partnered with them. And in the beginning, and we still are in the beginning, it's been take one step and do what you can. So this is the first bag I mentioned. This is the first prototype, 2 bags in one. We call these earth bags. They're made from recycled plastic. They're made from billboard vinyl. So once we had the idea, we actually had to get it out. So we used Kickstarter and Indiegogo essentially to get our product off the ground. We had a $10,000 goal. We hit the goal in about 6 days. We finished with about $25K in revenue from that first campaign, and then we had a lot of work to do. We were featured in Washington Post, Fast Company, Money Magazine, and a bunch of regional and local bloggers really showed us a lot of support in the early days. That's my car there. That's my trunk. I literally would go from the trash to advertising agencies to anyone really that had vinyl, had billboards that they would donate. On the right there, that's what a pallet looks like. A pallet like that can weigh anywhere from 100 pounds all the way up to roughly 500 pounds. This would have gone in a landfill. So I mentioned Kickstarter. We had a 6-month lead time before we could ship the first products. So what do you do when you have that time on your hands? Well, you go out and you do pitch competitions, of course. So I won the Virginia Velocity Tour. It was a grant for $25K, and it really helped us. I don't know if we would have been able to actually ship the Kickstarter campaign product without it. We got some more press after that. And we finished the year off, the first year there, with a trunk show at Bloomingdale's in New York. And that was this, really magical moment because I just gotten married like a week before then, and effectively that was kind of a honeymoon of sorts of hard work. And we ended up showing at the 59th Street store, and we had a really great holiday season. So these are some more pictures of the Soho location for Bloomingdale's. So once all this was done, we came back to Virginia and we opened up our very first office. So from this room, I worked for about just under 2 years. It got really tight as the time would go on. There wasn't a lot of space. It was hot. It was cold. It flooded. We got hit by a hurricane, but we made it work. Those are our first customers walking in the door. We didn't have anything in the beginning, I should say, too. We started this, there was no furniture. It was myself and a laptop. As time progressed, we would have orders, and I would start to pick up skills that I still can't necessarily call them skills, but I help. So we started making product initially in the States, and we found there were many opportunities to produce globally. There's a lot of talent all over this world. And we did find that we were able to do production in Haiti. So here's some of the billboard vinyl in a factory in Haiti just spread out. I mean, these billboards weigh anywhere from 50 to 100 pounds a piece. So if you can just picture sending 25, 50, 100, 200 of these around, it really starts to add up. On the right there, you're looking at fabric. That's roughly 1,000 yards of fabric that would be converted into what we call earth bags, and that would repurpose on average about 17.5 water bottles per bag. It's about 1 square yard of vinyl recycled with every bag. I would be given an opportunity to go to Haiti as a result, and I was able to kind of go to some of the largest landfills in the Caribbean. And so this is what the plastic buildup looks like. All this plastic could take up to 1,000 years to degrade. And I watched bottle collectors come from all over the island, sell their plastic, and then that plastic would have its final destination ultimately going into one of our bags. We were able to partner with organizations like Thread International, and at the end of the day, we were able to do the vinyl sourcing on our own. Every 10 customers, 1 customer will actually donate vinyl to us. So these are a bunch of just different pictures, just showing how vast this is. I mean, you never really can see how vast of a problem it is, I think, until either there's a great exhibit or maybe even a consumer product. And for me, I think this was really my light bulb where I came back to the States and I was really inspired and ready to work. So we talked a little bit about Kickstarter. We had done a VIP version of our product for, kind of like a full experience where we were going to bring customers to Virginia and we were going to try to give an experience. And that turned into lifelong friendships. It turned into customers meeting each other, walking away as friends. We even did a wedding. So if you see the bags on the right, that was a party favor for a wedding. This is the vinyl. I came back from Haiti really inspired and just more hands-on. I wanted to collect as much billboard as possible, so much that I basically filled up my office with it. At this point, I'm starting to get some volunteers to help out. Along the way, I've made some friends and gotten some introductions. I got a chance to meet Barbara Corcoran, and she was really enthusiastic about what we're doing. We also found a new factory. I did a podcast a while ago where I basically was, just working and trying to get the word out. And I found, an amazing introduction to a factory in New York. And so this is our New York factory where we made roughly 80% of our product last year. That's Daniel, our intern from a summer ago. He's wrapping a pallet to be sailed to a factory. So by this point, we've just about got the supply chain down. We're starting to get ready to cross into 2018. So this is a pop-up that we did at West Elm. We're also doing trade shows at this point. We did a trade show every month. We started out, we were in Orlando, Florida. We went to Surf Expo. We would go to Las Vegas 3 to 4 times within that year. We went to New York. We showed in Atlanta. And we really started making new relationships that would ultimately allow us to sell more bags and to create more income opportunities, support more income opportunities, and to help recycle. We received our first international customers. We started selling into countries like Canada, Europe, or into continents even, and Japan. So now we have more orders. At one point, our office was all orders, and I couldn't open the door. So this is me cutting up a vinyl for Zappos. So Zappos sent us some major, huge banners that were too big to even fit in the door. You saw how small the office was. We made those into bags for their Las Vegas headquarters. We expanded manufacturing again. This is in Los Angeles. These are all retail customers of ours. We figured out that there's a lot of recycled materials that can be used and upcycled, one being pineapple leaf fiber. So pineapple leaf fiber, sourced in the Philippines, finished in Europe, and it gives us essentially 2 lines. So we have a canvas line. That line is sporty, affordable, classic. And we have a pineapple leaf fiber line, which is kind of like leather. So think more like sophisticated, more high-end. This is a bag we worked on with Coachella Music Festival. We shipped just under 3,000 units of these over the past 2 weeks. So that's 17.5 water bottles on average per bag. That was a part of their activation with Hewlett-Packard and Intel. This year, we also made a commitment to get out more on the road and do more consumer events, more festivals, more pop-ups, to be able to spread the word. This was at the Something in the Water Festival in Virginia this past weekend, an inaugural festival in my hometown of Virginia Beach. Finally, we found that the direct relationship with customers and to be able to fully experience the brand is really a direction that we wanted to go in. So we found ourselves in a pop-up store, and we'll be open tomorrow when I fly back to Virginia, we'll take a lot of hard work and we'll make it into a reality with our soft opening. These are some early sketches. It was an old store before we got there, and there was a lot of work to be done, but the progress has really been miraculous. These are my iPhone edits. We work with several organizations, one being the Virginia Zoo, who saw an article about this pop up and donated a lot of vinyl for our store and for upcoming product. These are really rough iPhone photos, but I'll make sure that we publish some higher resolution photos soon. Thank you for your time.
So I was sitting there thinking, why didn't I think of that? Why, it's like the Rubik's Cube when that came out. I'm standing there thinking, and I'm watching this guy probably retire in Hawaii, and I'm going, I could have thought of that. Nice job, Hamilton. My name is Terry Garner, and I have the honor to serve as the director of the William J. Clinton Presidential Library. I'm also fortunate to have the opportunity to preserve the archives and the legacy of the Clinton administration. Like a lot of you, as I look around in this room, President Clinton is a native Arkansan. He grew up in this beautiful state and has said that spending his formative years in the natural state established his lifelong commitment to environmental stewardship. As president, his administration engaged in many efforts to safeguard essential bodies of water and promote environmental stewardship around the globe. I'm not going to hit all the highlights because there's actually too many of them, I'm happy to say, but I will mention a few. He adopted the most stringent air pollution policies in our nation's history. He expanded and reauthorized the Safe Drinking Water Act to protect 40 million additional Americans. He established the American Heritage Rivers Program, championed efforts to conserve coral reefs and marine life in the Caribbean and the Hawaiian waters. And he extended a moratorium on offshore leasing to minimize dangerous drilling. And he signed the Kyoto Protocol to combat climate change, which Vice President Al Gore helped to negotiate. This exhibit presents the perfect opportunity to reflect on those accomplishments and to remind ourselves that we must each commit to protecting this environment. Although the trash collected and turned into the beautiful sculptures you see in this exhibit was found along the Oregon coast, it could have just as easily been collected along the banks of the Fouche Creek and the Arkansas River. If you toured the exhibit, you had the opportunity to meet Eli the Eel and play styrofoam drum sets made entirely of trash and debris. But what I'm most excited about is all of you are the first visitors to walk through the reef at risk. This is the first time Washed Ashore has been exhibited in such an immersive way. On one side, you will see the colorful reef with sea jelly bloom floating above, healthy and alive. On the other, bleached out styrofoam that represents what it looks like when the reef dies. It's hard to imagine a more drastic contrast. From the student to the grandparent, we hope that everyone who has the opportunity to enjoy Washed Ashore walks away with a renewed sense of awe and responsibility. As President Clinton says, when we protect our oceans and waterways, we are protecting our future. Thank you all for coming out this evening, and thank you again to our exhibit sponsors and hosts this evening, Regional Recycling and Waste Reduction District. That's not as easy to say as you might think. And now we invite you all to enjoy the reception and also to tour the exhibit. Both galleries are open, and I hope you enjoy it and have a good evening. Thank you.